Ireland show real progress with an emphatic win in Parma. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. An impressive performance from Ireland in this one. They're putting pressure on right from minute one, and we have a Timo check in that first minute for a high tackle by it was Federighi on McMahon. She goes to the bin, that goes to the bunker then for review. Ireland then spread it close to the line, looking to width and space. Pressure from the Italian defence does cause the pass to go to ground, but then Aoife Dalton, she kind of has to turn around, go back the other way to collect the ball, but she has the power to force her way over through a tackle. That's converted for 7 points to 0, Ireland lead. We then find out that the yellow card is going to remain yellow because there wasn't a high degree of danger in it, and that was fair enough. Ireland then strike again, put it through the hands from their own half. Higgins sells a dummy, grows through a gap. She then fixes the cover and passes to McGann, who has the pace not only to cross in the corner, but then she comes right around behind the post to make the conversion much easier, and that's duly converted for 14 points to 0. Italy then have a period of possession on the edge of the Irish 22. Ireland managed to strip the ball, but they knock on from the scrum then. Stefan sells a lovely dummy, just goes through a gap and over to score. Conversion missed, 14 points to 5. Momentum then, it swung to Italy for a while. They're making decent bursts. They're, good carries from the forwards as well, but they don't add to that try, and it's Ireland who actually score next. Nice flowing move in the attack, and then Costigan just out wide on the left, just goes around the last defender and over to score, converted for 21 points to 5, and Ireland retake control of the game. Ireland then strike off a very solid scrum in the 22. Stacey Flood prevents the Italian drift and then puts McGann over for her second, and Ireland's bonus point try. Conversion nailed from out wide, 28 points to 5. And I have to say, Dana O'Brien, her performance from the tee this week, especially compared to last week, absolutely brilliant. And fair play to her. Young lady, would have been a lot of pressure from last week as well to get things right today, and she absolutely did. Italy then rally as we approach the break. They work it to within a metre. They force a penalty, kick that to the corner to go through a number of phases, pounding away at the line. King though makes a try-saving tackle to stop them just short before Vicini gets held up over the line, and that's half time, 28 points to 5. Ireland then the second half to go to the corner from a penalty, set up the maul. They drive it close to the line before there's a counter from Italy. Then there's a break off. Aoife Wafer forces a way over, but we have a Timo check, and in the setup of the maul initially, Niamh O'Dowd is offside. At that setup, she's one of the lifters, goes in behind Tuitt and prevents access to the Italians. So if you watch any of the men's games, and I've talked about all the time with the men's game in terms of the Irish team and the Irish provinces, they do it all the time. It's that one where you have your jumper goes up, secures the ball, they come down, and then the two lifters slot in behind them, and we get pinged for so often, and again it happened today. So that's a penalty to Italy, and then Italy work up the field. They go to the corner from a penalty then, but they mess up the line out and knock it on. Ireland look to clear it, but Dan O'Brien caught like at the back in the in goal area, but not really her fault. Like, she put up a bit of pressure, but we come back for the scrum to Ireland anyway. Ireland then win a penalty at the scrum and they can clear. And from there, Ireland really did start to become dominant in the scrum as well. Ireland, they then win another scrum penalty, go to the corner. They force another penalty as they're pressuring that line. They kick then to the opposite corner. So first they went to the right corner, now they're going to the left corner. King breaks off the maul and she goes close before Jugang then powers over to score, converted for 35 points to 5. Now, Linda Jugang had a really good game as well. Really locked out that scrum and then allowed Ireland to be much more aggressive, especially on the Italian ball in the scrum too. Defended brilliantly too, but not long after we have a TMO check for a tackle by her and it's shoulder to head. She gets a yellow and it goes to review and we find out it's very similar to the Italian one in the first half. It's definitely a yellow, but there wasn't a high degree of danger, so it stays a yellow. There's no 20-minute red card. Then Lane then snipes her way into the 22. Ireland win a penalty for Italy not rolling away. They kick it to the corner. Italy initially do well to drive them all back, but then Hogan with a really strong carry. Then Wall gets over to score. Conversion is missed, 40 points to 5. Then Italy drive them all in the Ireland 22. Ireland almost get hands on the ball, so Italy decide to spread it. Then Rigoni picks a really nice line, but she stopped just short of the line. But then she kind of picks the ball back up and then kind of flops over an Irish player to ground the ball. And looking at it, you're thinking she's never gotten back to her feet before. Regathering the ball. She just released the ball, which you have to do, but you're supposed to then get back to your feet and take the ball again. But she's never actually back on her feet. But then we have it the referee says we're going to review it. She says it's not a try. Goes to TMO review, and then the TMO says that she did stand back up and then played the ball, and the try is awarded. So that's converted for 40 points to 12. Yeah, and a bit of a strange one that, because I don't know how they determined that she got back to her feet. But Ireland from there then, they attack off a scrum in the 22. Dalton with a strong carry. Lane then goes to the line. She's tackled just short and then she loses the ball, as she goes to ground. But, a decent attempt there, but good defence as well from Italy to get back at her there. Ireland then forced a number of penalties in the Italian 22, and Hogan takes one quickly, gets over to score, converted for 47 points to 12. And at that stage, that's the highest total Ireland had ever scored against Italy in the Six Nations. And we think conversion over, pretty much the game is done, but both teams decide to play on with the clock in the red. Ireland managed to turn Italy over. They shift it wide to McGann, who then just has just that gas to go in and complete her hat-trick, converted for 54 points to 12. Yeah, and just, a great performance from Ireland. And, the fact that they were able to stretch the winning margin at the end, that's something we haven't seen much from Ireland, in a long time. And even when, Ireland were, winning championships, etc., there would always kind of be a period where maybe things would drop off after subs come on or wherever, and they wouldn't get the winning margin that maybe, their efforts would have said that they might have done. But in this one, they kept their foot on the gas all the way through, and that's a sign of a confident team, but not just a confident team, a confident squad as well. Everyone wants to get involved in the scores, and everyone's looking for the ball. There's nobody hiding. Like in the build up to the last try there, you had players filling in at 10 or whatever to shift the ball on, etc. And that's just great to see as well. But going to look at the stats and then we'll talk a little bit more about the two teams. So let me pull the stats up on the official site. Hopefully they're up to date, because last year one of the problems I had was that stats weren't updated, directly after the games. But now, it's the Guinness Six Nations this year, the same as the men's. So expect the same level as well of professionalism in terms of getting stuff updated, and it looks like it is, which is good. Okay, so we're going to start with possession. So Italy with 52% possession to Ireland's 48%. Italy, lots of possession, but really did kind of lack a cutting edge. They were finding gaps in the Ireland defence at times, and they were causing Ireland problems. And I think, a better team than Italy, say like England, if England, who are next up for Ireland, find those same kind of gaps, they're going to be scoring tries. Ireland aren't going to be able to recover from it, but Italy weren't able to do that. Territory then, again, Italy edging it, more than edging it, 54% to 46%, but Ireland far more efficient in terms of, actually convert the scores. Then if we look at attack, so attacking minutes almost exactly the same, 16.1 to 16. But tries scored 2 for Italy and 8 for Ireland. So basically, Italy scoring a try for every 8 minutes of attack, and Ireland scoring 1 every 2 minutes. And that's the kind of pace you expect, the likes of France and England to be at, or like in England's case, probably more than that as well for them in a lot of their games. So good signs again for Ireland there. Carries then, again, very similar, 134 to 130. So Italy just edging that. Meters carried 778 to 768. So again, very close. And then here's very telling, right? Meters gained. Italy 532 to Ireland's 464. So Italy gaining more meters per carry, obviously, than Ireland. But again, I said it, you had a lot of really good carriers. Who's it? Tonesi. Then it was Scorini, I think it was, and Giordano in the back row for Italy, all carrying really well and making meters. But they'd make the meters, and then they weren't able to take advantage of it. They weren't set up the same way that Ireland were. When Ireland, they had a few players like the likes of Dalton, Wafer, and then Hogan when she come on as well, and King too. Who made decent meters in contact, but for the most part, Italy winning that battle, but again, not really set up to be able to actually take advantage of that. Line break sense 7 for Italy, 8 for Ireland. So again, very close. Defenders beaten 20 to 22, but it's Ireland's ability to actually provide that finish, that really was the difference between the teams. Total passes then 165 to 179. Offloads 12 for Italy and 9 for Ireland. And Italy had that thing that, like a lot of teams that offload, that produce a lot of offloads, that kind of problem that you can get is offloads are just done for the sake of keeping the ball alive. They go behind your own players, and your own players have to go backwards to get it, and then they collect, a defender coming up and smashing them, and that happened a couple of times for Italy. Handling errors then, 23 for Italy, 15 for Ireland. So, Italy's hands, again, just that ability when they made a break, handling errors. There were a lot as well in terms of drop balls from high kicks that Ireland were putting on them. I thought Ireland's kicking game was really good. And Ireland, just the hands are better. Turnovers conceded then 19 for Italy and 11 for Ireland. So again, you can see, although Italy were edging in terms of meters gained, etc., they were basically handing the ball back to Ireland. On to kicking then, kicks and play, 19 for Italy and 25 for Ireland. And this is a big difference. Kick meters, 319 for Italy. So from basically like 20 kicks. So you're talking about average of about 15, 16 meters per kick for them. Ireland, though, with 833 meters from 25 kicks. So you're talking somewhere like in the 30, 33, 35 kind of meters per kick for them. So pretty much double the length on their kicks compared to Italy. And again, Ireland's kicking game much the better of the two teams. Next then onto defence. Tackles made 160 to 197 and tackles missed 22 to 20. So Italy 88% is really good actually, but Ireland at 91 outstanding. And it was that defence that really helped them in terms of, again, Italy were kind of bending the line, but not necessarily breaking it off all that often. Onto discipline then, penalties conceded 11 for Italy, 8 for Ireland. So you always want to try and keep those penalties down in single figures. Ireland managed that. Free kicks conceded then, 1 from Italy. I think that was at a scrum. Offensive penalties, 1 for Italy, 4 for Ireland. So that's certainly something that Ireland will want to fix there. That's a lot of penalties. When you're only conceding 8 penalties, to give half them away when you're on attack, that is definitely an issue. Defensive penalties then, 10 for Italy and 4 for Ireland, and then 1 yellow card each. Pretty much, mirror tackles from the Jew gang and who was it? It was Vicini, I think, right? That went to the bin in the first minute. Okay, on to the breakdown then. Rooks won 99 to 105. Rooks lost 3 each. And then, so speed of ball. So again, this comes back to the fact that, Italy were making those meters, but it felt like they weren't set up properly to actually take advantage of it, to get quick ball, to then, have players in place to actually use quick ball as well. You can see it on these numbers. Rooks 0 to 3 seconds, 40% for Italy, which isn't bad, but Ireland at 57. So Ireland much faster ball, which meant that Ireland were facing, for the most part, a not completely set defence in Italy. So it meant that Ireland didn't necessarily have to make as many meters because the gaps would be there after a couple of phases, whereas Italy had to go through a number of phases with strong carries to create the same gaps in the Irish defence. Then 4 to 6 seconds, 44 for Italy and 40 for Ireland. So much closer in terms of kind of medium ball, but then slow ball over 6 seconds. 16% of Italy's ball was over 6 seconds, and just 3% for Ireland. So basically 1 in 6 of Italy's rooks were so slow that they basically lost momentum in whatever attack that was, and you saw that watching the game. Onto set piece then. Scrums won, 9 for Italy, 8 for Ireland. No scrums lost each, but Ireland definitely had the nudge in the scrum, especially in the last kind of 30 minutes of the game. Lineouts won then, 6 for Italy, 17 for Ireland. 2 lineouts lost for Italy and 1 for Ireland, and that one was a lineout steal that Italy came up with. But I think, again, set piece definitely it was in favour of Ireland. And then kicks at goal. So successful conversions. There were no penalty kicks from either team. Successful conversions, 1 for Italy and 7 for Ireland, and 1 conversion missed each. So again, Dan O'Brien, fantastic from the tee for Ireland. So we don't at this stage get individual player stats or whatever. I'd like to go through some of them because there were some ones I'd like to highlight, but maybe as compilations we'll do it later on in the tournament. Okay, so let's talk about each of the teams. Let's start with the home team, Italy. So as I said, you could see just watching the game, they're making ground, but they'd make ground and then they'd like there'd be a few players would be there, but they didn't have enough players in support, and Ireland were able to reset the defence. So even if Italy bent the line or burst through the line, they, Ireland were the ones that reacted quicker to it, and they were able to shut most of it down. And Italy, they had chances as well close to the line. They found it difficult to actually get over, and that's again credit to Ireland's defence. Last ditch defence there, and they got 2 tries. One of them, is, you would definitely, if it was a closer game, I'm sure there'd be a lot more talk about that from people. But things like that happen. You can't, like, obviously it's something that the TMO might get pulled up on or wherever. But you have to think about it as well, as that things like that happen. Like Ireland, at some stage in this championship or in the World Cup, might get something that went their way as well. So it kind of evens out over time. That's why you never really hear me complaining about referees or TMOs or whatever. It's just this one I just kind of pointed out because it was strange rather than I disagree with it. It was just a strange one to see. But Italy, you can see that there's definitely talent in that team. Like as I said, the back row, all 3 of them carrying really well. Also, Duca is a real star in that team as well in the second row, and such a strong carrier and fast as well for forward as well, not just for the second row. And then Stefan at 9, so quick in terms of spotting gaps and stuff like that. Maybe not in terms of like pass selection and stuff, things like that too, because there were times when she hesitated, at the bottom of the ruck or with the ball in her hands, and then she got caught and moves broke down because of that. And then Dinka on the wing, unfortunately she went off injured with about 20 minutes to go, so hopefully it's not anything too serious for her and we see her back. I thought Muzzo really struggled on the right wing, especially under the high ball for Ireland, and didn't get that many chances to kind of show what she can do going forward either. But this Italy team, if they click, they're definitely, you look at the likes of Wales and Scotland, it's going to be one of those ones, I think, again this year between those teams. And I don't know about Ireland yet because it's only one decent performance, right? Because last year it was definitely all 4 of those teams together. It was kind of almost rock, scissors, paper, right? In terms of who was beating who. But it feels like Ireland are maybe beginning to move away from that little group. But I think Italy certainly will be competitive against Scotland and Wales. But again, it's about turning up on the day. And they've definitely got to improve in terms of converting chances into scores, and also just discipline as well. You can't be giving away as many penalties as they were, and allowing kind of Ireland to get in positions from there too. So, but it wasn't a terrible performance from them, because again on a different day, if they had have converted some of their scores, especially in the first half, it would have been a much closer game, and I don't think you would have seen Ireland kind of stretch away towards the end the way they did. On to Ireland then. Fantastic performance. They got into an early lead, never relinquished it. And I think the fact that, O'Brien had such a good day with the boot as well really helped, because it meant that when they, when they scored the first 2 tries, she nailed the conversions. So when Italy scored their try, instead of it being 10-5, it was 14-5. And that was a bit of a cushion there for them, and because you can imagine it was 10-5 and Italy got the next try, Italy could be taking a conversion to take the lead. So, decent performance, I think, from her, not just, from the tee or all around. But then, there were so many good performers on the Irish side as well. I thought the scrum went really well, so they got to give props to O'Dowd, Jones, and Jugang in there. Especially, I thought Linda Jugang again had a very good game there in the loose. Jones very effective as well. Always a willing ball carrier, and making good yards too. Thought O'Dowd was very aggressive in defence, along with Jugang there as well. Second row, Campbell and Tuitt went well together, as a combination there too. And then the back row, McMahon, King, and Wafer. Aoife Wafer was fantastic, and people might have thought, well, why has she been taken off with 20 minutes to go? But then Hogan coming on just showed what she could do as well. And it's good that Ireland have those options there, because that's something, again, in the past, Ireland, we've had kind of star players and stuff like that. But then you look at kind of not even just the players who are coming off the bench, but some of the players around them in the starting team, maybe not up to anywhere near that level. But now they seem to be building some proper depth there and some proper options as well, that players getting injured, etc., may not be as big of a problem for them. They're still nowhere near the likes of France or especially England in terms of depth in the Six Nations, but you can see that something's been built there, and it feels like everything is going in the right direction. Then I thought Riley at 9 did really well. We already talked about Dana O'Brien. Costigan, then she's been a star for years, in the sevens, and her finishing, converting it over to the 15s game as well, absolutely excellent. And there've been many kind of players who really shone in the sevens, and then they've tried them in the 15s, and it hasn't worked out as well as for her. But she's just absolutely clinical. Then the midfield as well, Higgins and Dalton, the movement, their running lines, their awareness of space, their the strength in the carry as well, passing game, everything has come on so much. Like we talked about Ireland last year, where they were just so static in attack, and this year, they're actually beginning to look like a proper team in terms of, there's actually proper dummy runners and things, and you can see them manipulating the defense and creating the space that they then exploit, and there was none of that happening last year for them. Then McGann on the wing as well looks like another one, who's going to be a really good finisher. And I think in terms of, like, she obviously got a hat-trick today, but she's going to work then on the all-around game, which is going to come with time. She's not that experienced at this level. So, and then Stacey Flood, a fullback as well, and the bench also had great impact, especially the likes of Wall, Hogan, we mentioned already. Thought Lane coming on at 9 was very good, and then Breen coming in there towards the end as well. But it's good to see pretty much the whole 23 having positive contributions to the team, because it's been a long time since we've seen that from Ireland. Now, from here though, it's a big step up to play England. Everybody's expecting that England are just irresistible. If England click, Ireland are going to get beaten pretty well. So Ireland have to try and kind of frustrate them and maybe get a bit of a lead. And that one, I think at this stage of Ireland's development, you're still looking at a performance rather than a result, if you're being realistic, I think. But today was excellent from Ireland. Again, Italy, there are signs there, that they definitely can, cause problems for some of the other teams in the tournament. But they've had a tough start. Like, to have to play England first up, they improved certainly against this performance. But at the same time, shifting a record score against Ireland as well. So they'll definitely want, to get kind of an easier matchup for them, one where they feel that they actually have a decent chance to compete. In fairness to them, in recent years as well, of that group of four that we talked about, so Italy, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, they've been the one that have been most competitive against France as well. Their game, the way they play the game, their natural game, seems to be very well matched to the French in terms of being competitive in games against them as well. So I think for the rest of the tournament, I think we're going to see certainly improvements from them, and it's hard to see them going through the rest of the tournament without picking up at least one win. Okay, so that's the end of that one. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and also we didn't cover last week's games because basically, like, I was so much to cover last week, but also transitioning to a new job. So that's, we got that out of the way now. So I was able to watch this game today and cover it. And then, next week we're going to at least cover the Ireland game, and then we'll see if we can cover, or like the next round. Sorry, we'll be able to see which other games we can cover as well. But as I said, let me know what you think.